Hey, what's going on, world? Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome back to Seventh Wonder TV. Today we're going to be doing a short lecture, a very short lecture on what mushrooms do to my brain, from the perspective of like what I feel versus what some research that I've done. Um, Very light, minor shit. It's honestly a bunch of stuff that's kind of arguable as well. Like for example, well, it's known that psilocybin, oh, psilocin acts on the serotonin receptors, but as far as what exactly are the serotonin receptors entirely responsible for, that is up for debate. So let's first start off with, you know, the sensory part. So when I trip, I can't be in a small space in a little small room because it's gonna fuck up my trip. In the sense of I'm gonna get anxious after the fact that I don't know, it's just something about being enclosed. Uh, and so I realized that we need to be experiencing new things. So in the form of like hiking, that's oftentimes enjoyable, or just like watching movies, or some kind of some kind of thing that would act on your senses by itself. And all that's happening is that it's just simply expanding on that and amplifying what you're feeling. So everything is a lot more intense, and what you feel is a lot more intense. And also too, because of the fact that your sensory system is increased, like what is a result of that is a bunch of things. So you have your brain communicating, right, with itself in unusual ways, and so it's able to make connections that it normally wouldn't able to make. And that's really fascinating because if you want to make change, that kind of is super helpful. And it temporarily interrupts your well, my default mode network or something like that. And it's really like, in essence, our ego. And our ego isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's something to take note of because when the ego gets disrupted, we're able to then process things in rather unconventional ways, and that could lead to innovation because it temporarily disrupts what our traditional programming is, which allows for a lot of variations and for better or worse. So let's say if you were to want to integrate this into a form of therapy, it could be therapeutic, but you would also have to back it up with actual like things. Like you can't just hope to God that this is gonna somehow magically cure you from crack. It's not gonna do that. You're gonna want, you got to have that desire, and I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Um, and what's funny is what I've noticed is the whole roller coaster that is the trip. I think that is the valuable aspect, and pharmaceutical companies are currently researching to kind of get rid of that effect, that feeling. They think it's a side effect, it's an issue when it's not. It's a way to regulate our systems to kind of just balance it out because it's not, so it's not that pleasurable. And also, too, I think by it being casually traumatic, it sounds kind of funny, but by it being casually traumatic, maybe that's how it actually plays a really big factor in change, is that uncomfortable nature. So. I really do think that it's a one-hit wonder. We can't necessarily reproduce it in the sense of we can't make it better. We can't make it artificially, commercially viable in the sense of how could we add our own sauce and then IP it. That's not something that we could do. It's super reasonably cheap and affordable to manufacture. Um, kind of. And something to note is the neuroplasticity aspect of this entire thing. Basically what that is like our brains changing. Our brains making new connections and forming stronger connections within our brain. And so, that's pretty cool because, like, imagine that. It's going to lead to a bunch of perspective and quality shifting, open-mindedness, ideas, is going to lead to a lot of different changes in the brain by just simply rewiring the brain temporarily. And so, again, this is able to serve and treat mental illness, well, in some regards, right? When it comes to some psych problems, it could definitely make things worse, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's on the chemical delivery. I don't know. I mean, there's so much research to be done, and I hope you jump into this. And so, with that being said, I'm gonna go enjoy a movie. I appreciate it, y'all. This is a very short concept. Yeah, I'm gonna be. Actually, no. Let's just play the game for like a little bit. Talk mushrooms. I got into mushrooms when I was pretty early. When I was pretty early on in the whole. Let me see. Oh shit. Hold on. Well, I was pretty early on in life in the sense of I tried them in high school with a friend after seeing a bunch of Joe Rogan shit. God forbid, fucking hilarious. And yeah, I was desperate for change, and I was seeking help essentially, and that's exactly what that was. That was the help I was seeking. And so I was kind of like, after receiving that help, I wanted to share that experience with other people and gift it, more or less. Not sell it, not profit off of it, but just share that with other people. And so that's why my methods and my approaches are a bit different. Um, as in, I don't want to take out a loan on these endeavors. It's not something that would be necessarily that profitable. Especially not right now, due to the market cap and the limitations, the regulations, the restrictions within the market. So right now, I'm currently just doubling down on building up the brand and building up a strong foundation and base. So this is a 10 to 20 year play at at stake here. And so with that being said, it's tragic seeing people come into this out of desperation to make a dollar. Like, this industry is to be expanded upon and nothing more. It's not to be taken from anytime soon. And it's not going to work. It's not going to be profitable for a while. So, um, well, profitable in a commercial sense. If you're some small time grower, that's different. But for it to scale and be commercially viable, I mean, that's something entirely different, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I hope this reaches the right audience. If not, then oh well, I tried. I'm trying something new. Um, I want to incorporate uh, a bit of like a lounge kind of vibe. In the sense of I want people to come in, chat, literally just come in and chat, break deals, talk business, meet people, talk about ideas. That's what this whole thing is. That's what the live structure is going to be, backed by, you know, I don't know, marketing and other aspects and product presentations and whatnot of what the community has to offer. That's a cool bio. But yeah, so there's money in this, but the real money is in pouring, like literally, like it's an endeavor that you don't want to try to look for ROI anytime soon. There's an ROI, but it's very limited. The real gains are in the people that are just pouring and pouring and pouring into the industry. And there's a lot to offer, of course. And I primarily use it to network, so that's because, it's really cool. It's how I'm able to provide value, in essence, to any stranger. It's like, hey, have you heard of this? Or do you know what this could do? And yeah, I could provide value in other ways, but that's how I found to be something rather personal. It doesn't necessarily have to be business or photography focused or media focused, but it could just be life focused. Um, yeah, man. Appreciate the time. Till next time.